Yo, what's going on, snipers, and welcome back to our Arizona Coyotes franchise mode here in NHL 22. So in last episode, we simmed more of the season and we funneled some trade offers potentially to make some trades in this episode because we are approaching the trade deadline. And yeah, there is some pretty good offers that we are going to be probably making and some good trades to help out our rebuild here in Arizona. And yeah, hopefully the trade deadline is a successful one, and hopefully after we tank the rest of the season, hopefully we have a good pick in this year's draft, because this year's draft obviously is the Connor Bedard draft. Now we do have quite a few comments to go over for this episode before we make some trades. So the first one is from Canadian Eagles. He says, I would downgrade to a fourth in Lyubushkin for Samukharov. Doesn't hurt taking a chance. And then he says, at the very least you could have a solid bottom top two or 2D man for 2 to 3 years. So yeah, I think that makes sense that we will trade for Samukharov, because there's also a couple comments from Dylan Burrows, and Dylan Burrows also says, I think that Samukharov trade is a must. Don't think you're gonna get a solid player out of a third round pick. That is a trade to make. So we are definitely going to be trading for Samukharov in doing that trade that they offered us in last episode, if they still want to do it. If not, we might have to change up to what the trade actually is. Then also Dylan Burrows has a couple other comments. He says, trade Jumbo Joe to the highest point team and try and give him a chance at getting that Stanley Cup, which we definitely are going to be trying to do. And he also says, definitely I would draft a goaltender. Got to get some good ones in the system, which for sure we definitely got to do that. We got to address defense and goaltending, especially in this year's draft, because last year's draft we went a little bit heavy on forwards. So this year we should probably target some defensemen and goaltending, and then also some other forwards if we can too. Dylan also says he wants to see if Galchenyuk or the Leafs have any interest in Galchenyuk, and if we could get maybe like a third rounder or a third and a random prospect back from, which we could definitely get some good offers from him, because I looked at the trade finder actually just yesterday, and there is quite a bit of offers for somebody like Galchenyuk, so we'll funnel through them to see which one we want to do the best. And then the final comment is from HawksFan88. He says, just try and trade away some of your bigger roster players. You should be able to pick up a solid prospect. And then I asked him if there was anything in specific he saw, and he said nothing specifically, but I think you could possibly get a decent top 6 forward prospect if you maybe take back a guy on a bad contract to stay above the cap floor. So we are going to be making some big moves here at the deadline, hopefully. I did also write down a bunch of players that I will probably be trading away. So those players being players like Nick Schmaltz has actually some interest. That's only one trade offer I got from him, but we might end up doing it. There's also interest in Galchenyuk by 7 different teams. Gaudette has interest by 15 different teams. I don't know if I'm moving Gaudette though, because he is on a 2-year deal, so we might just wait till next year because he is a solid enough player. But Joe Thornton has interest by 11 different teams, so we're going to give him to the best team in the standings probably. And then also Lyubushkin might be the one that gets sent to Edmonton in the Samukharov deal, if that is still a deal that we can make. So let's get into making some trades. We're going to make the trades before the deadline, and then we'll just go into the deadline kind of and see what other offers we could do or any other trades we could do. And if there's nothing, then that's pretty much all we're going to do in terms of trading wise this season. So let's make some trades. So we'll go to the trade finder and see if we could, or actually not the trade finder, let's see if we could still make that trade for Samukharov first. So the trade that was proposed to us was our 3rd round pick, our 7th round pick in 2024. So for next year's draft, and Lyubushkin for Samukharov straight up. So I don't know if that's still an offer that Edmonton wants to do or not, but we will definitely try it. Lyubushkin's just been sitting on our bench pretty much the entire season. So yeah, he's going to be traded away. And then we are going to be adding our 3rd rounder in 2024, which I'm a little bit skeptical about doing, to be honest, because 3rd round picks still can be solid prospects, but we do have a lot of 3rd rounders this year, so it might make up for the fact. And we do have like 3 2nd round picks next year's draft, so it doesn't really matter if we actually have this 3rd anymore, I don't think. So we'll add that 3rd. Maybe that's why actually we got that offer in the first place, is because we have a lot of 2nd rounders. And they also want a 7th round pick in 2024, so we'll add that. And we'll go over to the Edmonton Oilers. Actually, like literally almost every team is interested in Lyubushkin, which is kind of interesting. So we will go to their defensive core. Samukharov is actually playing in the NHL right now, which is kind of interesting. I thought he was going to be playing in the AHL. He's played only 1 game, so they're playing him like as a bench defenseman, but we will probably have him sent down to the minors just because we obviously need him to develop a little bit more. It's a bit skeptical to me as well that he's 23 already and he's a 77 only. but maybe 1 year of development down in the AHL will help him. So we will bring in Samukarov, and that's what offer we're getting thrown, but it looks like there's way too much stuff on our side, to be honest. So maybe I'll try and see if I can get Samukarov for less, but if not, we will just add that third rounder that they wanted. Like, to me, actually, never mind, that looks closer now. So let's add a third rounder again in 2024, but we won't add the seventh. Okay, that looks a little bit more fair, to be honest. Let's see if this would go through instead, so that way we can keep the seventh rounder, because sometimes we can get some good steals in the seventh round. So Lyubushkin and a third for Samukarov. That is rejected, but it does say Sweden just a touch, so they do need that seventh rounder, unfortunately. But at least we are going to get Samukarov in, which is pretty solid. So Lyubushkin, best of luck in Edmonton. Hopefully you go on to win a Stanley Cup, maybe, I don't know, because that team does look pretty good. And Samukarov, hopefully you come over here and be a pretty good player at some point. So Dmitry Samukarov is now with the team. I am going to send him down to the AHL, I think. He might go through waivers is the only problem. So maybe we want to actually just throw him in the lineup. But we'll do that actually after we make some other trades first, because we need to make some other big trades potentially. So if I go to the find trade option, there is one offer for Nick Schmaltz. Now, Nick Schmaltz isn't by any means somebody I have to trade away this year. I could hold on to him a little bit longer. But there is one offer that's kind of intriguing to me, and we will go to that one right now. Actually, now there's two offers, because yesterday when I did this, there's only one offer. But the San Jose Sharks are offering us 2 second-round picks in Dylan Gambrell, who's now in Ottawa in real life. And then there's also the St. Louis offer, which is 2 second-round picks in Ivan Barbashev. So it's kind of an interesting trade offer, because Gambrell is not bad of a player. He's young, and then we get 2 second-round picks. Or we could take on Barbashev for 1 year, and then he becomes probably, he becomes a UFA, I'm more than certain, and then we get also 2 second-round picks. I don't know if I really want to do a trade with Nick Schmaltz yet. I feel like we could hold on to him maybe for another couple of years, and then we could trade him away. Like, Dylan Gambrell is like kind of like a depth forward. He's not bad. He might actually fit our third line, which is kind of interesting. I don't know if he's like a RFA at the end of this year or what, but he would be a solid roster player to bring back. And the reason that they're probably giving us like stuff like Gambrell is because we have to take back some cap, or else we'd be below the cap floor, I think. Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to trade Schmaltz yet, because he's our biggest cap hit player. I might just hold on to him for a little bit longer. But we are going to be trying to trade away Galchenyuk and Thornton in this as well. But I don't think I want to trade away Gaudette either, because he's got 2 years. So I might just wait till he has 1 year left on his deal. So maybe his value could be a little bit higher. But we should actually technically be playing Dylan Guenther, who was in the CHL. But he will be in the NHL next season for sure. So Joe Thornton. This is one where we got a lot of trade offers for Joe Thornton. So there should be a lot of teams interested in Mr. Jumbo Joe. Yeah, there's like 19 different offers here. So let's funnel through these, and we'll also take a look at who's doing the best in the league at this point. So Anaheim's interested. Who else we got here? Florida. I think I wrote down all the teams actually that were interested. Wait, actually, yeah. Let me make sure that I wrote down all the right teams still. Because if I did, then I will check the standings and see who's the highest up. Which, yeah, okay, so it's the exact same teams as when I was looking. So let's go to edit trade, and then let's go take a look at who's been the best out of those teams so far. So Anaheim is 41 wins, so Anaheim might be the team, to be honest. Florida, another team interested in Jumbo Joe, only has 33 wins. But the thing is, if we trade him to Anaheim, they might be a first-round exit. Because Anaheim, they might be really good, but yeah, you know how it is, the simulation. When you have a really good regular season, you usually get knocked out in the first round. So maybe we don't want to trade him there. We want to try and find the team that's going to be a cup contender. New Jersey is definitely not that type of team. Pittsburgh might be a good option, as much as I hate Pittsburgh. Seattle might be a good option as well. Tampa's kind of 500, which is kind of surprising, to be honest. Tampa might not be a bad one to send him to, but they might miss the playoffs at that rate. Vegas, Washington's been okay, and Winnipeg's been good. I think I would send him to Pittsburgh, to be honest. I think. Because Pittsburgh, They might be simulating too good as well. Don't want to send him to too good of a team. Who has like 29 wins that wanted him, that's in the playoff spot probably? Montreal Canadiens, no. Can't send Jumbo Joe to Montreal. I could send him back to Florida, to be honest. Yeah, I think I'm going to send him back to Florida potentially. Let's look at those trade offers again just to see which one's the best, because I think I will go send him to Florida again, which is kind of funny because he was obviously in Florida in year 1. So these, let's see, which is one of these offers though looks the most intriguing? Wait, is Florida still interested? Yeah, they are. They only want to give up a 3rd and a 4th. Or we could get some prospects back, but I don't mind just getting picks. 2 3rd-rounders from Seattle is kind of intriguing. And these prospects are really that good, so I think I might actually take the 2 3rds from Seattle or Winnipeg. I think I'll take the ones from Seattle. So we get 2 3rd-round picks in this deal, and that will make up for the 3rd-round pick we literally just flipped away. So, and those 3rd-rounders could be potential assets, you know. So we'll take 2 3rds for Joe Thornton. So best of luck in Seattle, Jumbo Joe. And few players dressed in the NHL. So we're gonna have to call somebody up, which I guess we'll just call up Brandon Hagel since he has actually a cap hit. And we'll leave the rest of that for now. We'll just best our NHL lines. Eventually we'll flip it around and edit it, but not yet. Okay, so that's that trade. So Jumbo Joe's now in Seattle. And our final trade that we're going to be making, I think, in this episode is trading away Alex Galchenyuk, because there was quite a few teams interested in him. And he is on a 1-year deal, and he's having a pretty solid year, so his value has gone up. So Galchenyuk, we could get Joel Perreault, who his father actually used to play for the Phoenix Coyotes at one point. 2nd-rounder, and Zellweger. That's not bad. Bio Gruel. That first offer is pretty intriguing, to be honest. Is there any teams that are willing to give up a defensive prospect, maybe? Because we don't necessarily just need forward prospects all the time. Dawson Mercer's not a bad one either. Unless he doesn't develop, but I don't know if he develops or what in franchise mode. Sam Poulin, Braden Schneider, and a 3rd-round pick. I like that one, because that gives us a forward prospect, a good defensive prospect, and a 3rd-rounder. But I don't think Schneider really grows much, if I'm not mistaken. Damn, a lot of these offers are pretty good. 2 2nd-rounders and a low top 6. That might be an intriguing one, because Washington might be on the decline. Who knows? Or we could get Hendrix Lapierre in a 2nd and a 3rd. I do like that one. I think I might go for the Hendrix Lapierre one. I don't know how he develops in franchise mode, but bringing in somebody like Hendrix Lapierre, 68 at 21 though. He is a little bit low, so he probably won't develop, to be honest. So I don't know about that one. It's a good offer, but I don't know if Hendrix Lapierre actually develops. Like, you guys can let me know about that, obviously, but I don't think he develops. It doesn't seem like he does. So Vidicek's probably low. I might just take the Samu Poulin and the Braden Schneider one. Or we take Tracy and Schneider. Let me take a look at this one, see if Tracy's developing. Braden Tracy's a 72 at 21. I like that better. And Braden Schneider's a 69 at 21, but I have seen him crack to like top 6 at some points, or a depth defenseman. And then we get a 3rd-round pick. Is this part of this trade? Yeah, I think we're going to do this one. So we're going to send Galchenyuk back to Pittsburgh, which is one team that he played for Braden Tracy, Braden Schneider. Right, it's Braden Tracy, right? Yeah, for the 2 Bradens in a 3rd-round pick. So best of luck in Pittsburgh, Alex Galchenyuk. And those are our 3 trades that we're going to be making in this episode. And we will call up Connor Timmins as well, because might as well. Over the player limit? What do you mean? It said that I had few players dressed. I don't know. Okay, so now I'm going to have to quickly edit our lines, and then we will get into the actual trade deadline. I don't know if we're going to be making any trades, to be honest. But yeah, so I'll see you guys in a second. Okay guys, so I didn't end up actually editing the lines, but there is a little bit of a problem. So Braden Tracy gets thrown to the NHL right away, and I want to send him down, but I can't, obviously, because of salary cap reasons. And then also I'd like to send down Sam Marukov maybe, and actually maybe not Sam Marukov, but Braden Schneider for sure. And I can't send him down because of cap reasons as well. So we might trade for somebody that has a bad cap hit for like 1 or 2 years so we can maybe get back a pick or something at the deadline. That way we actually stay closer to the cap floor, and I could send down like Tracy and stuff like that, because I don't really want them to be in the NHL at this point. So we will probably end up trading for somebody with a bad cap hit if we can. So, but yeah, let's get into the trade deadline maybe. Or maybe let's do this do a trade for somebody with a bad cap hit right now, with like 1 year left or something, so we could take on a bad salary that's on the trading block. Who's a bad player that's on the trading block? Zdeno Chara might be an okay option just to bring in Chara. He's probably only signed for like 1 year because of his age. He is making $3 million, so that should help us out cap-wise, so we'll just take him in. But he has actually value is the thing. Anybody else that has like a bad contract? Chris Tanev maybe. Tanev's making 4.5 for 2 years, but he's too good. I don't want somebody that's that good over an overall. I want somebody that's like a low overall and high cap to an extent, which sounds really weird, but we need somebody with a low value. So 5.25 or 79 in Lucic. We could take on Lucic for a year. That will help us out a little bit. And we'll just give back... Let's actually just go to the trade finder and see what they want for Lucic. But we'll take on Lucic, and then Lucic will definitely help us out cap-wise. And then he could go to free agency after the first year, which is good. So let's see, Lucic, because I actually want to give him up too, which is a good thing. Yeah, he's got a really low value, but we'll take him. Wait, I wanted to go to the trade finder, not the proposed trade screen. God damn it. But yeah, so we'll bring in Lucic, and that will definitely give us the cap room to like move around players and all that stuff, I think. So let's go find trade. No trades found. I'm gonna have to actually propose them a trade, I guess. So let's go back to the trade finder, or the trade proposer, and bring in Lucic. Yeah, this episode might be a little bit long because of those trades, but yeah. We're going to still simulate the rest of the regular season and see where we're drafting and stuff like that in this episode. So, yeah, Lucic, and we'll see if we can get back a good pick actually, I don't think we would be able to since it's only 1 year. But let's give them somebody with low value. That doesn't really matter that much. We could probably just give them literally what matches their block. We could give them maybe that goalie prospect, that low backup. Or we could give them Krstanovich. I think I'll just give them Koronin, because he's a low backup. He's probably not going to be anything huge anyways. And that should go through on its own, I think. Koronin for Lucic. Nope, apparently not. But I still will give them Koronin, because why not? We could give them our 6th rounder for this year, because we already have a lot of picks earlier on in the draft. So maybe just a 6th rounder for Lucic will go. Yep, that works. Perfect. So Milan Lucic is now welcome to Arizona for the year, which is good. Now we should be able to get our cap situated. So I'm going to readjust these rosters quickly. I'm not going to edit the lines really, but I am going to be able now to send down some players that I want to send down and call up players I want to call up. So we'll send down Tracy, because Tracy needs to be sent down. And in the system, I think we need to call up Connor Timmins, maybe. Actually, wait, is Samukrov still in the NHL? Yeah, he is. So we'll send down Samukrov as well. And I will call up Timmins. And let's just call up Capobianco for now. Oh, apparently Sam Marukov goes through waivers. So we will not be sending down Sam Marukov, which is not necessarily a good thing. Hopefully he starts the AHL next year. But yeah, we'll just call Timmins, and Tracy will go down, since Tracy doesn't go through waivers. But the rest of this, we'll just go best lines on everything, because I don't really care about how bad the chemistry is at this point. But Sam Marukov has to stay in the NHL, which kind of sucks. And then we'll go best lines down there in the minors, and that is good to go. Perfect. Actually, I need to make sure Braden Schneider's in the lineup instead of somebody else. So I think we'll probably take out, we might take out Karate, to be honest. Give Schneider a top pairing time. There we go. Perfect. We are good to go into sim up to the deadline now. So let's sim up to the deadline. I don't think we're actually going to make any trades at the deadline, so I might just bypass it, to be honest. But we will see if there's any trades from any AI teams, just because I'm kind of interested in what type of trades happen. And that way you guys could get a little bit more of a story through what happened at the deadline. So we'll go in as a seller. And yeah, let's just enter the deadline for now. But I don't think I'm going to be making any trades. Yeah, I think we made our trades already pretty much. So yeah, we're not going to make any trades at the actual deadline. All those trades that we made before are our trades for this episode. So, and just because this episode is pretty long already at this point. So Connor Bunneman on waivers. 77 fourth liner, that's 24. That's not bad, but I don't really need another player to be on our lineup, so we'll just decline that. But it's still not bad. Okay, so that is that. Let's take a quick look at what trades happened. We'll just kind of skim through it a little bit. Any ones of note we will mention, but then we'll get the rest of the season simulated. So Goligoski going to Boston. Okay, Kristanev going to Pittsburgh. Zarnik. Wow. Austin Zarnik fetched Tyson Forster. What the heck is that? BK Subban and Edler go to Florida. That's a pretty big trade. Saron Noel, Nick Malik in a 7th go the other way. Marc-Andre Fleury going to Columbus from Buffalo. Troy Stetcher. Sean Monahan getting dealt to LA. JBD and Nikita Zaitsev go to Anaheim for some prospects. Damn, tons of trades. And then there's all our trades as well, and that was it. So not really a whole busy of a deadline, but there was some pretty big trades, I would say, at this year's deadline. Let's get the rest of the season done, and we'll then take a look at our player stats, the standings, and all that sort of stuff. And then we'll sim up to like the draft lottery results, and we'll find out, I guess, the retirements and stuff too. But yeah, this is probably going to be a pretty long episode because of those trades, but whatever. Montembeault has broken his toe. Of course, the goalie breaks his toe, and we're going to have to call up a replacement goalie. And I guess that's going to be Prosvetov, who doesn't go through waivers yet, so that is good. But it does give Ivan a chance at the NHL to see how good he is. He's going to be playing with Coronar. And I think Montembeault is going to miss the rest of the regular season, which is kind of a bummer, but whatever. Or he's not going to maybe miss the rest of the regular season, but a decent chunk of it. But now we're losing a lot of games after those trades, which is a good thing. The tank is real. And Caleb Jones has been injured. We'll go replace player. Strawman's been injured. At least we have 2 depth defensemen. Jeez, why are we getting slammed with injuries, though, right at the end of the season? Like, I don't have injuries set to that high. Okay, so Samukrov got some ice time, which is good, but now he's going to come out. And I guess, yeah, I think Strawman's fully back to full health, right? I know he's not, but it doesn't really matter. And Caleb Jones is in. There we go. I wonder if Caleb Jones and Samukrov played together in the AHL. They might have. In Edmonton. So Montembeault is back from his injury, so we do got to send down Prosvetov, and he will go back down to the AHL. Hopefully Montembeault doesn't get re-injured, because that's a little bit of a pain in the ass when that happens, especially when this episode's already been long. Montembeault dropped down to a 78, which is kind of weird too. So I guess that broken nose is affecting his play. And Liam Kirk's been injured in the minors. We'll go replace player. Julian Gauthier has been injured. Damn, we're literally just getting slammed in this last little bit. Moser, let's just go best lines down there. And let's get the last bit of this season done with. Montembeault's back to full health, which is good, but he's in the lineup already. Kirk is back, best lines again. Gauthier is back, so we will throw him in instead of, who was it, Ladd, I think. I believe. There we go. Gauthier is in, and of course this glitch is going to happen where it shows no games whatsoever, but whatever. Okay, so we finished the season 30, 43, and 9, so a pretty terrible season, but we do finish second worst in our division behind all those teams. I will actually show you guys the complete standings in a second, but let's take a look at our player stats first. So in terms of our centerman, Nick Schmaltz had 58 points. See, that's why I keep him around, because if he has a really good year, all of a sudden he could be really high trade value, and we could get a lot more for him, maybe even. Barrett Hayden, 45 points, which is pretty solid. Gaudette, 37. He will be on the block probably next season or at this year's draft. Larson, 22 points. Boyd, 16. Keller was really good. Kraus, Lucic played any games with us in the lineup? Looks like he did. Or maybe not, I don't know. Ladd, pretty solid. Hagel, Barabanov. Yeah, our goal scoring was definitely not great, and then our defensive core was not good at all either. Chychrun and Soderstrom, both really good offensive seasons. Jones was pretty solid, but all three of them were really badly minused. Henry Jokiharju, it was a minus 34, so yeah, we're just terrible. And Samukrov put up 2 points in 3 games and was a +3, which is pretty impressive for his overall. And there's the goaltending stats as well. So a pretty terrible offensive season and defensive season for our team. Entire league-wise, the top point getters, McKinnon, and McDavid both had 112 points. Aho up there as well. Most goals this season was McKinnon with 57. Ovechkin up there as well. So some pretty good players up there. Best players for defensively, Seth Jones had 74 points and somehow was a +38. There's the defenseman. Best goaltender this year for wins was John Gibson. Most shutouts this year by a goalie was Cal Peterson and Tuukka Rask with 7. Best save percentage by a starter, Marc-Andre Fleury. And best goals against average by a starter was Marc-Andre Fleury, who was traded at the deadline, which is kind of surprising. Best rookie this year for points was Lucas Raymond with 61 points in Detroit, followed by Shane Wright with 60 and William Eklund with 55. Interesting. So that is the player stats. Let's take a look at the standings for each division. So Colorado finished first, Winnipeg finished second, Chicago third. But yeah, we were 7th with 69 points. And yeah, we scored 2.5 goals per game, which is the worst in our division by far, instead for Minnesota, who did really terrible. Goals against per game, we were terrible. We allowed over 3 goals a game. Power play percentage, 16.2. And penalty kill percentage actually wasn't that bad, 84.3. 4 shorthanded goals, and yeah, there's that. Then we take a look at the other divisions quickly as well, because my buddy Jeff has got to keep track of this stuff for the spreadsheet. So there is a look at the Atlantic Division with the Buffalo Sabres on top, which is kind of surprising. We go over to the Metropolitan Division, the Carolina Hurricanes winning that division with 110 points. And the Pacific Division, the Anaheim Ducks finishing top of that division with 108 points. Seattle did make the playoffs though, so go Joe Thornton. Hopefully he wins the cup. And then, yeah, entire league-wise, the top team in the league was the Carolina Hurricanes. We finished where in the standings? I'm kind of curious on that. That's the Eastern Conference. Never mind, Carolina didn't finish first. I know they did, okay. But where did we finish in the entire league? Just so I could kind of see in terms of where we might be drafting. So we finished 30th in the entire NHL, so we might have a really good pick this year. And hopefully that pick is going to be Connor Bedard, because that would be pretty awesome. So either that or Matvei Michkov. So that is that. Let's simulate through the playoffs just to find out who wins the Stanley Cup and the awards for the season. And then we'll take a look at where we're drafting. And hopefully, yeah, we could also take a look at the retirements maybe. Or maybe I'll try and stop it before the retirements. So let's go to this and simulate and see what happens. Who is going to win the Stanley Cup? Simulate to draft, please. Who won in year 1 again? I don't even remember. I think it was the Rangers that won in year 1, so I don't know if they're in the playoffs again in year 2. But it'd be interesting. It doesn't look like they made the playoffs, actually, so it doesn't look like we're going to get repeat champions in the first few years. And it's going to be the Florida Panthers that win the Stanley Cup, so I should have sent Jumbo Joe to Florida. Or did I send him to Florida? I sent somebody to Florida, I'm pretty sure, didn't I? No, I think I sent Jumbo Joe to Seattle, didn't I? I can't remember who I sent to Florida. I got to take a look at the roster. But San Jose is going to win the Calder Cup in year number 2. Let's take a look at the Stanley Cup champion winning Florida Panthers team. And then we'll take a look at the playoff tree and all that stuff. So this is the Florida Panthers team that won the Stanley Cup, led by Jonathan Huberdeau and Barkov. Geez, the point totals from those 3 guys are ridiculous. Who did we send there, though? Did we send somebody there to this team? Or we were thinking about it? I don't think we sent anybody to Florida. Wow, yeah, Florida was really good. But I don't think we sent anybody to Florida. We could have, but we didn't end up. Man, I wish I would have sent Joe Thornton there. But I sent him to Seattle instead. So there's your Stanley Cup champion winning Florida Panthers team. Quick look at the playoff tree as well, just to see who they faced. They faced the Anaheim Ducks, who won in 7 games. Wow. Okay. Interesting. So, yeah, Seattle was knocked out in the second round. So, unfortunately, Joe Thornton's not going to get a cup unless he doesn't retire in this episode, but let's take a look at those awards quickly. So the Florida Panthers won the Stanley Cup, Carolina won the Presidents, and I'm in Florida Stanley Cup Finals. McKinnon, Aho, Jones are going to get awards. Aho again. Shane Wright wins the Calder, which is kind of surprising because he had less points than whoever finished number 1. Barkov gets the Conn Smythe. Florida Vezina, Demko the Jennings, Werenski the Masterton, Conboy for Buffalo wins to Adams, Bergeron wins to Selke, Aho wins to Lindsay, and Nathan McKinnon wins to Richard. In terms of the AHL, I'll just skim through these because it doesn't matter as much, but there you go, in case any of you wanted to look at that. And now that that is done, let's take a look at the draft lottery results. And then I guess we'll have to probably find out the retirements for this episode, even though I don't really want to because I don't want this episode being super long. But let's just go up to the draft to find out where we're drafting for next episode. So we do not win the lottery. We fall from 3rd to 4th, which kind of sucks. So we're not going to get Connor Bedard or Matvei Michkov. But we do still have a chance of getting a really good elite prospect. So that's actually pretty nice still. But it does suck not getting a franchise player. We could always try and move up because we do have picks to try and move up, but I don't know if we will be able to. So Ottawa's got first, though, Dallas, and then Minnesota. So that's interesting. Toronto's got number 5, which is kind of crazy that they moved from 15 to 5. Okay, now that that is done, we have to take a look at the retirements, and then we'll take a look at the draft class and just to see what's out there and the progress reports, and then that will be pretty much it for this episode at that point. So yeah, Joe Thornton's going to retire with Seattle. Wish I would have sent him to Florida instead so he could win a cup, but unfortunately he doesn't get it done in Seattle. But yeah, there's the rest of the retirements. Lucic retires with us, which is fine because we just brought him in for cap reasons. But yeah, not a huge retirement class by any means except for Jumbo Joe. At least that's what it looks like. Goalie retirement rise. Curtis McElhinney's the best goalie to retire. So yeah, very quiet retirement class except for like the first like 8 players or 10 players of this. Oh yeah, also Louis Eriksson retired, it said so. Zach Parise and Keith Yandel are now coaches, which is kind of interesting. And then Brian Little is now a scout. And then in terms of coach retirements, I don't think we lost anybody, but just in case, yeah, we didn't lose anybody. And let's continue simulating, and let's take a look at that draft class. Hopefully we have a good enough pick to get a good player in. So obviously we can't get one of these two unless we try and move up. But Zetterberg could go 4th. He's probably going to go 3rd, but that's a really solid player, whoever's going to get him. And then we have Agostino, who we don't know anything about, unfortunately, because we do not have a scout in the Swiss League. But he might end up being our pick, or we go with a defensive prospect in Manny Pietrangelo this year, which would be a pretty solid one to bring in, too, because he's a right-handed defenseman. And then there's also Brandon Yeager, but I don't want to get a real player, I don't think. So I think Agostino or Pietrangelo would be good. Obviously, we do need defensive prospects, but Agostino could be a better player. He is 17 years old, so he might only be like a high top 6, though. I don't know. But yeah, I'll have to look through this draft a little bit more in depth afterwards, because there's also like this random elite guy who's supposed to go later on, which is interesting. So we might be able to get some pretty good stuff at this year's draft. Like, we could try and move up if we want to, or we could just keep with our current picks. Let's pin some players if there's any guys that are supposed to go late. This guy might be a medium elite goalie, but it might take a while for him to develop, so we'll pin him just in case, though. There's also Stone. Yeah, it looks like there's going to be probably a good goalie at some point that we could probably nab. Let's just go through this a little bit more. Oh, there's some really good stats. Guy Delorme. That guy's supposed to go 14th, though. I don't think we have 2 first-rounders. But, yeah, that's interesting. Let's take a look at any low-lead potential ones just to see for late-round picks. So, Ortmeyer, who we were looking at, looks still pretty good. So, yeah, Ortmeyer might be the perfect pick for, like, a 3rd-rounder or a 2nd-rounder. We do have a lot of 3rds, I'm pretty sure, this year. Or a lot of 2nds or something like that. Yeah, so I think Ortmeyer is definitely a good pick to pick up for us because we do need a defensive prospect. And this guy does probably have some X factors, or might have some X factors. Interesting. And quickly, let's take a look at our progress reports, and then that'll be it for this episode because this episode's been way too long, and I apologize again for that. So development in the NHL looks like this. So Genther's definitely going to be in the NHL next season. Just great to see. Goddard actually might be getting some statistical growth. So hopefully that ups his value a bit. In the system-wise, Calvin Shelley is up to a 74 overall. So he's definitely going to be playing in the AHL next year, which I'm very excited to see how he plays because his shooting category is ridiculous right now. We just need to put him next to a good playmaker. Semenov is getting some good development as well. Same with John Farinacci. But yeah, we're getting some good growth all around in our prospect pool. And our prospect pool is even getting better because with those trades that we made and whatnot. Excited to see how this team is next season and how that AHL team is, because that AHL team eventually is going to be pretty stacked, I think. And goalie prospect wise, Elena Felt is up to a 71. Okay. So anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this episode of our Arizona Coyotes franchise mode. So in next episode, we will take it to the draft and the re-sign stage. And yeah, hopefully have a really good draft for this team. Obviously to help out with our rebuild. And yeah, re-sign stage-wise, hopefully we could get most of our younger guys that we want to keep around back, so we could eventually trade them away. Or, well, not younger guys back, but trade away some of those guys that we have signed at to long-term deals and all that stuff. So let me know what you guys think down below. And I'll see you guys next time.